Hey guys, welcome back to the 411 on Tech. And in today's video, we're going to be adding more tables to our Atgames Legends Pinball machine. Now in the review, we went over the 22 GIGABYTE tables that comes with it, but we wanted to add more tables. And in this video, we're going to show you a quick and easy way of adding some tables to the machine via the Pinball FX3 tables. And those tables are from well-known intellectual properties like movies, television shows, and it also comes with a fair number of Williams tables. So we're going to get into it right after this.
Alright guys, so here's the brains of the operation. Now what we have in here is the 1080 Ti. You might be able to get away with something like a 970 or something like that. You don't necessarily need something as powerful as a 1080 Ti. That's just what we had lying around and went ahead and threw that in. We also have an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory at 3600 megahertz. Now 16 gigabytes seems to be the sweet spot for all tables to get 1080p 60 frames per second running smooth, so just want to note that. And then we also have a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe drive. Going down the road, we might add an additional NVMe drive as we also want to get into visual pinball and future pinball. So we'll need more room for more tables possibly there, but those are our specs.
So let's talk about what you're going to need for this to get these tables running on the Atgames Legends pinball machine. You're going to need HDMI cables to connect your monitor. So the main playfield of the Atgames Legends, you're going to need an HDMI cable for that. You'll need an HDMI cable for your second and third monitor. Now today we're only going to be doing just the main playfield and an additional monitor. We're not going to be using the back glass because we're waiting for the Atgames Rachel board, or Vivus board. It has two names. Internally it was named called Rachel, and Friends memes are going around, that kind of thing. So, but we don't want to disconnect the ribbon cable that connects the back glass to the main playfield, because that's one of the weakest spots of the pinball machine. So we're going to wait for that switcher board that Atgames is bringing out, and then we'll be able to switch between the Atgames ecosystem and what we have running on the PC with the click of a button, and we'll just have to do that one time. So today we're going to have the main playfield going, and then we'll have a secondary monitor, but we're going to get Pinball FX up and running, so you will need HDMI cables for that. You're going to need a USB A to A data cable, and we'll put a link for descriptions of HDMI cables, or we'll put a link in the description for HDMI cables and this data cable. So you're going to need that. We're going to need the computer, like we mentioned, to run the software. Obviously you're going to need a second display, or you could use the back glass. You can use the back glass now, but you have to get like a EDP LCD control board, and it has a kit, and you got to get power supply for that. We'll leave links in the description for those items, and we'll also leave a link to Cool Toys video as he's showed that process. But like we said, we don't want to really mess with that ribbon cable. We want to be one and done, so we're waiting for the Atgames HDMI switcher on that.
Yeah, and I think Friday the 14th of May.
Right.
There's going to be more information released on that, and possibly a release date. So be on the watch for that if you're interested.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get an order in for that. And I've heard that it's going to be around $50 for that HDMI switcher. So another additional cost, but the convenience.
For the convenience.
Yeah, the convenience that'll bring, I think it'll be worth it. So we're going to have Pinball FX3 running. We have a majority of the tables, so this is going to add, I think, about 95 tables to the 22 that we have. We're going to be running in the cabinet mode. Now, cabinet mode is something you need to request from Zen Studios.
Yeah, so you need a personal activation code, and you request that from Zen Studios website. We'll put the link down below for that, and you just fill out a quick form, your name, your email address, and what you're going to be using it for. And basically all they want to know is that you're not going to be
for commercial
use or anything like that. And then they'll ask you to, once you submit the form, they'll ask you via email to submit pictures of your cabinet and your setup there. So we did that. We have the Atgames, they had no problem with that. And we got the code fairly quick, like I think it was like the next day.
Yeah.
So no big deal there. And then also we're gonna need Steam. That's how we're gonna get Pinball FX3. And also you wanna make sure that your Legends Pinball is up to date with the latest firmware. Sometimes they have updates to the OTG stuff, so you wanna make sure you're updated.
Yeah, just to make sure you have a smooth, stable experience.
Right. All right, so we got our PC down here. We're with our Atgames Legends Pinball. Now the first thing you want to do is you have your HDMI and USB Type A to USB Type A data cable, as we showed earlier. So you want to make sure they're plugged into your PC. And then the HDMI, there's only one HDMI port that goes to the left. And for the data cable, make sure you're plugging this into the right USB port on the Atgames Legends Pinball. Do not plug it into the left or else it won't work. So once you have that all set up, now we want to go into the display settings of the PC to get the two displays to display the way we want them to. So you want to go ahead and right click on your desktop, go to display settings, and then you'll have two monitors that'll show up if you have two different displays, one of them being the Pinball, Atgames Legends Pinball. And so for the first display, the display that's going to be your back glass, you want to click on that and make sure that it's set at 1920 by 1080 if your display is 1080. Make sure it's set to landscape right here on display orientations. And then for multiple displays, make sure it's selected extend these displays. Then you want to go down to your second display settings and you want to make sure this is in portrait mode, not in landscape. So select portrait and then that your resolution is set to 1080 by 1920. Also, you want to click on extend these displays as well under multiple displays, and you want to check the box for make this my main display. Okay, now to get your Atgames Legends Pinball switched over to your PC, what you want to do is hit the channel button here at the top. This is going to bring up an HDMI input window. Now for your settings, for control mode, you want to make sure this is set to OTG. Display, you want this to be your main display. And degree, you want to set that to 90. Then you just go down with your D-pad to hit OK. Hit this little play button to enter. And now we're in our PC. Now, once you have all that, now we'll switch over and go to Steam and show you how to set that up.
Okay, so now you're going to want to launch Steam. So I'm going to launch Steam in big picture mode. I'm going to launch that. It makes it more like a console-like experience. It's pretty nice. So then you're going to want to go into settings. You're going to want to go into interface, and you're going to want to select start Steam in big picture mode. So that way every time you start Steam, it'll come up in big picture mode. So you want to check that. Then you're going to go back. You're going to go down to under display. You're going to go to resolution. You want to make sure that your target resolution is 1920 by 1080. I'm going to make sure that is selected there. Then you go back again, and then under controller, you're going to click on controller settings. Under controller settings, you want to make sure the first box is checked as guide button focuses Steam. You want to check that. You want to check the box that says Xbox configuration support. Check that. And then the last box you're going to want to check is it's called generic gamepad configuration support. You're going to check that. So under detected controllers, it'll be Xbox One controllers detected. Now when you get in there, it's going to look like an Xbox 360, but it says the Xbox One controller. So you click on the Xbox One controller. Then you're going to want to click Define Layout so we can map the buttons. Now we've already did it, so I'm going to go through the motions with you anyway though, so you can understand how to do it. So for the primary action, that's going to be the A button. So like this Atgames Legends Pinball is a giant Xbox controller. So that's going to be the red button here. That's going to be your A or select button. And then the go back is going to be the white button. That's going to be your B or your go back button. Tertiary action, that's going to be this play button on the Atgames Legend here. And then your secondary action button is going to be kind of like the Atgames symbol. That's going to be the secondary action button. So then you're going to want to go down to setting up your flippers, which is going to be your left and right shoulder. So your left shoulder is going to be the red button on the left. That's going to be left shoulder. Right shoulder is going to be red button on the right, so that's your right flipper. Then you're going to want to set up the D-pad, and you'll just go through and set the D-pad up. You do up, left, and then down and right. Now the D-pad's a little finicky, so it may take you a couple times. It's kind of like when you click it, the recognition of the action, sometimes it skips a couple, so it might take you a couple times, but you'll get it. You set up the D-pad. So then you want to scroll down to set up what they're calling the triggers on the Xbox controller, but that's going to be your nudge functions, okay, or your bumpers. So the left trigger is going to be the white button on the left, so that'll be your left trigger. Right trigger will be the white button on the right, and that'll be your right nudge or your right bumper. And that's all you have to do, and then you'll save and exit, and you'll have it, all set up, and you'll be able to control the pinball games with the Atgames Legend. It'll be very nice. So now let's get into some pinball game. We're going to launch Pinball FX3 and show you some gameplay.
Alright, now let's play some pinball. So make sure you have Pinball FX3 installed on Steam. Then obviously you want to just go to Library, and we can do this with our D-pad here as well on our Atgames. Hit the red button to enter. And then you want to load or start Pinball FX3. We just played it recently, so it's continue. And then just go ahead and launch it, and it'll launch the game. Now, if it doesn't come up for you right away, just go to your secondary display and click on the FX3 icon on your taskbar, and that should bring it up for you if it doesn't display on your Atgames Legends Pinball display right away. Alright, so let's hit enter. We can sit this down really, because now we have our controls mapped. Now the first thing you want to do if you have another display is you want to get your cabinet mode set up. Now, as we talked about earlier, you want to go to their website and request to get a personal activation code. Once you have that code, at the top here you have a icon that looks like a pinball cabinet. You want to go up to that and select that. Now, we already have our activation code put in, so it's ready to go. You'll be prompted to put in your display code or your activation code, and then you'll get into this display. Now this display, you can set all your specifications for your dot matrix, your back glass, all that good stuff. So your horizontal positioning, vertical positioning, the size of the dot matrix, and the back glass. So your settings will vary, so you just want to get that dialed in to make sure everything is displayed fine on your secondary display. Now there's also an FAQ on Zen Studio's website for cabinet mode and how to dial in all your settings and what they mean, so we'll put that in the description below. Now also with these settings, in order to make the changes to your back glass and dot matrix, you want to make sure back glass repositioning is on, as well as dot matrix repositioning is on, so that way you'll be able to know where you're positioning it. So at first it'll be a black screen like it is now. Now the pictures are not, or the images are not provided for you, so you have to go and find those. You can find them anywhere online. So based on your display, if you have a 1080p monitor, you want to make sure you get a 1920 by 1080 image. And then where you put those, once you get your images, let me grab my keyboard here. There is a directory that you want to put them, and that is wherever your Steam installation is. So ours is located on the C drive, and then you just want to go to Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Pinball FX3, Data, and Steam. Now this is where you're going to find all your tables. You're going to put your image files in here, and then they need to be the same name as the pinball table itself. So if you have Jurassic Park, in here it's Universal_Jurassic_Park. That's exactly how you want to name your image file, so everything works as it's supposed to. Alright, so now that that's all set, let's get into some gameplay. So just to demo, we only did one backglass image, so that's Jurassic Park, so we're going to get that started here. We'll just go down to Jurassic Park Pinball. Alright, get that going. Now as you can see, we have our backglass image, and we also have the dot matrix there in the middle as well. So let's do this. And everything looks really good. Make sure your in options your display is set to 1080p. Ours was actually set originally to 720. Looks a lot better now that we have 1080p set. And there's no input lag at all. Everything looks really good. The ball looks really good. Let's see if I can get me a good score today. My flippers are very responsive. Lost my ball there.
Land the ball in the nest.
I'm still wanting to pull my plunger. Now, you currently can't use the plunger yet, which kind of sucks, but hopefully that will change in the future. So, you know, to get your ball going, you just hit the red button here. Lost my ball again, trying to show you guys. But yeah, and that's pretty much it, and we'll cut to show you a couple other tables as well, just so you get a feel for how everything plays here. Now, just really quickly to show you, with your button mappings, this Atgames button here, which is generally your home button for Atgames, that will change your view. So if you hit it, you know, it'll keep on changing your view, as you can see. So if you don't like the current view, then you can go ahead and switch that out. So that's kind of nice. Now, I also want to briefly show you the options menu within Pinball FX3. So if you go into your option menu, you have a number of settings. This is where I said, you want to make sure that you have your resolution set to 1080p. So you just go to video and screen resolution. Obviously this is vertical, so it's reversed 1080p by 1920. Make sure it's set to that. And then you can also change your display mode. Now, some other important settings in here. If you're experiencing some performance issues, you have settings in here for VSync. You can turn that on and off, and anti-aliasing. So those are things that you might want to just play around with, lower them, turn them off, whatever, see if that makes any difference for you. Now in here you can also turn ball trails on and off. So if you want it to look more realistic, you're going to want to turn that off. We turned it off. We actually don't mind it, but just to show you guys so that you can turn it off.
So there you have it, guys. An easy way to add more tables to the Atgames Legends Pinball via Pinball FX3. And you know, the tables are based on movies and TV shows, which are really nice. I like the GIGABYTE tables that come with it, but this is an easy way to add more tables to it.
Yeah, definitely an easy, quick way if you're trying to just get more tables. I mean, obviously we want to get into visual pinball and future pinball, so be looking out for that, but that takes a lot of more configuration, and we just kind of wanted to start off quickly so we can show you guys some more pinball tables on this Atgames Legends Pinball.
Yeah, no, we are gonna, you know, get the back glass working on the Atgames unit, but we're waiting for the Atgames switcher, HDMI switcher, because we don't want to really be like messing with the ribbon cable too much, because that's like the weakest part. So once we get the switcher, we'll be one and done on that, and it will be quickly be able to switch between the Atgames tables and then what we have running on the PC. So this will be down here, but we wanted to get that up and running to show you guys. So without further ado, let's play some pinball!